Hey everyone, Earl Flormata here from the 100kMentor program, and this is the video for critical path planning. So a lot of people keep asking, what do I do next in my business? Where should I go? How do I organize my ideas? How do we basically project manage? And so this is a course basically on project management 101. And I call it critical path planning because it just sounds more exciting than project management. And that's really what it is. And so the model I'm about to teach you guys is literally how they went through the thought process of how to put a man on the moon. And so NASA's used this for all sorts of projects and just a way of thinking and fiddling their way through a process. And the same thing goes with your business, right? There's a million things to do, but until you get it off of your chest and put it onto paper, and I'm actually going to stress the word paper this time through. I'm a digital guy. For those of you who know me, you know I don't like writing things down. I don't like writing things down on paper, of all things, because I just lose it. And that's why I have the big fancy $1,000 iPad with a freaking digital pencil, so I can not have to use paper. But in this case, this is one of those things where you actually want to use a physical, tangible thing. And I want to walk you guys through kind of the thought process on how to do critical path planning. And so the first step is, I'm sure you've seen this before, it's called a SMART goal. Okay, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely or time sensitive. So this whole SMART goal idea gets it so that the end in mind that you have is achievable, it is measurable, right? It's not just I'm going to lose weight, I will lose 10 pounds. And not just I will lose 10 pounds, I will lose 10 pounds by whatever time period, right? So it depends on what the period is, right? So we talk about this, and if I break it down into its things, I mean, so like for example, me personally, I'm starting a personal training regimen, right, where I go get my butt kicked and I work out twice a day. It's kind of crazy, but so specific. I'm specifically going to start the 75 hard program, phase 1. So that is a real thing. There's rules I have to follow. Measurable. Oops, that's too many. So measurable is, there's our set of rules that I must follow for this program to work out. And I'm going to have key performance indicators, KPIs, that I'm going to hold myself accountable to, right? So I want to lose some weight, but the weight part for me isn't as specific as I want to drop. So I was diagnosed with diabetes. I want to drop my blood sugar level down to within normal range again. Right? And I want to achieve that by, following this 75 hard program and doing a bunch of stuff that makes me more healthy, right? I want to be, stronger. I want, more defined muscles. I want to cut away some of the belly. I want, certain things, and these are the specifics and the measurability parts that I'm going to measure myself by, right? So I'm going to actually measure around my waist. I'm these many inches round. I want to be less than that. Right? And how much less? An inch, a 2-inch, right? How much less am I specifically going to go for? Achievable. Now, there's no way I'm going to go from a size extra large to a size small in any type of goal-oriented thing. You want to just drop a size, right? So achievable means that you can do it, and realistic is also, again, can it be done? And timely is also in that specific thing. So let's just talk about achievable, right? So if I want to lose an inch off my waist, is that achievable? Is it doable? Well, I could lose 2 inches off my waist, 3 inches off my waist. Those are all achievable, but are they realistic? Will I stick to the program long enough to be able to go from, point A to point B? Will I be able to, increase, my arm circumference by X amount, decrease my waist circumference by X amount, that sort of thing. And then timely is, if you don't set a timeline for your specific goal, it's never going to happen. Then it's just a wish, right? So it starts off as a wish, and then it becomes a goal. And if you make it a SMART goal, it's even better. And then if you aim for a specific targeted result, you're going to get better chances of getting to where you want to get to, right? So this is a SMART goal. And so the next slide here is, we're going to now need sticky notes and a pen. This is John Wick saying guns, lots of guns, but I replaced them with sticky notes, lots of sticky notes. So we're going to need a lot of sticky notes. So go buy a new pack of sticky notes before you undergo this process, right? You'll need a fresh pack to make this happen. Most people blow through an entire one, maybe two. Okay. So that being said, We talked about the SMART goal. The SMART goal goes on your sticky note. Write down your specific SMART goal on your sticky note. Make sure it follows all the rules of a SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, or time sensitive. And you've got to just make sure that it follows all those things, because if you don't follow all those things, the steps that you build, the map that you build to the treasure here, won't make any sense, because the treasure is not going to be specific enough, right? And it might not have enough, time frame. People don't move unless there's a deadline of sorts. So you got to have some sort of thing where it forces you to move. Okay, I'm shooting this video right now in a studio at the Vancouver Public Library. Now, I could have done these videos at home, right? But the thing is, like, if at home, I don't have the deadline, I don't have the appointment, I don't have the specificity of I must get this done by today because I promised other people that I must do so, right? So you do what you need to do to get the job done. And the first thing you're going to do is write the SMART goal on a sticky note, and that is the end of the process. We're going to start off with the end in mind. Then you're going to start with the first pass. The first pass is writing out the steps and being as descriptive as humanly possible from step one all the way to the end. And on the first pass, when you're building something out, I'm going to recommend, and this is kind of just a shot in the dark number, because I have no idea what you guys are using this for. You could use this to, build a $100 million business. You could use this to lose a bunch of weight. What you're going to do is you're going to be descriptive, and you want at least 25 steps. 25 steps that you must do in order. Okay, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 25, and be as descriptive as humanly possible. Right. This is the beginnings of a standard operational procedure. This is the beginnings of a manual. This is the beginnings of the plan, the steps, the structure by which you're going to get from where you are to where you want to get to. And you want to think in that linear fashion: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 25 steps, very minimum 25 steps. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, if you guys are actually going to do this, which I recommend highly, right? Stop the video now, go do this first pass, and then come back and then watch the rest of the video. Okay, don't worry, I'll be here. So I'll wait for now. You can pause the video. And yeah, I'll see you when you get back. Okay, welcome back. So if you're still watching, that means you're ready for part two. Now, part two, the revenge, because every part two is a revenge, is the second pass. And now you're going to ask stupid questions. Okay, you're going to pretend that you're giving the directions to a 5-year-old. So a 5-year-old has to be able to follow these directions. Fortunately for me, I have 2 kids, and when I was doing a lot of these pieces, I actually gave it to a 5-year-old and asked him, "Hey, do you understand this?" And he would go through it, and he would get stuck at certain parts. And if he couldn't understand, I had to break it down and fill in the blanks and break it down into smaller bits and pieces till he could understand it, right? And then my daughter eventually, so she could understand it. So ask stupid questions. Between step 1 and step 25, there are a few things where you probably made some presumptions and assumptions and guesses where you might think somebody knows whatever terminology means, right? So there might be something in your industry where it rolls off the tongue for you and it makes absolute sense to anybody in the industry, but to an absolute layman, someone who's never seen this thing before, doesn't know your terms, your terminology, your special words for things, they're not going to get it. So you have to make it as dumb as possible, right? It's got to be as stupid as you can make it, where literally the steps are, giant red circle, here's the thing, please click this button. And, to the point where if a 5-year-old can follow it, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. And now you want to be able to double up from your previous steps. And now instead of just doing 25 steps, you want to shoot for 50 steps, okay? Again, these are random, arbitrary numbers that I'm throwing out here, but the reason why I'm throwing these out is because I want you to realize that it's going to be more steps than you think it is, right? It's always going to be more steps than you think it is. Opening and shutting down a store, right? Unlock the gate. Here is the key. Where's the key located? What's the combination for the key lock to get at the key? So that's what I mean about how deep do you go. Turn off the lights. Well, which lights? Where's the light switch? These are steps to opening or closing down a shop. I did this for another client once, and we had like 100 steps, okay? And it was, if we did all 100 things, turn off the coffee maker, make sure you program the coffee maker for the next day. All these little things that you had to do were part and parcel of the procedure. So don't overlook anything. There is no such thing as a stupid step, add it, because someone's going to be like, that didn't make sense to me at all, right? But which might be common sense to you might not be common sense to everybody else. Common sense isn't so common, and the whole thing of being common, right? So yeah, it's not going to work. So make it as dumb as possible. Second pass. So if you're watching the video again and actually doing this, I recommend that you do so. Stop the video now, do the second pass, then come back. I'll wait. All right, if you're still around, that means you're watching the whole thing through and doing this as you go, hopefully. Or you're watching the whole thing through and you'll pause it the next time through and you'll do it then, you promise, right? So this is critical path planning, second pass. Now we're moving on to the third pass. And what I want you to do is I want you to now think backwards. So the first two passes were you going from number 1 to number 25, or number 1 to number 50, and thinking in that linear fashion or forward motion. On the third pass, I want you to flip the switch and think backwards. I want you to think the opposite direction. And the question I want you to ask yourself is, okay, from this step to this step, going backwards, do I have what I need to complete the next step? Do I have what I need to complete the next step? And I'll give you some examples for this in the next little bit here. And just think stupider. Just think dumber. Just think like that's obvious. They should know how to do that. And then make the damn note anyways, right? So we're looking at least 100 steps. 100 steps to do whatever it is that you wanted to do to build this thing out, right? So the 100 steps, the reason for the 100 steps is this makes it absolutely crystal clear, right? Your brain will shift in thinking process when you go from left to right and go from right to left instead. And it's a different thinking process going backwards. What you're going to do is you're going to uncover things. You go, oh yeah, I thought about that, but I just realized that, people probably should know that, in order to cut a cake, you need a knife, right? Get knife. There's no get knife step. Well, crap, right? So we're going to delve deep into that in the next part here. So pause the video now. Actually, screw it. This is the third step. Go do that and enjoy. But if you want, there's another part I'm going to go into here, which is the actual course that I run in doing this. So critical path planning, we actually run a course here at the 100kMentor group, and the assignment is baking a cake. Okay, so if you guys want to come to the live events, just check out the website when we have this thing up and the courses. But this is actually what we do. And the baking a cake thing, I've run this course in college for teaching people how to plan a project or build a business or whatever else. And the baking a cake, it's 50, 100, and 150 for steps for first pass, second pass, third pass. 150 is what the target is, right? 150 is a perfect score, or more, right? There was a couple of people who pulled off, I can't remember what the record is. I think that it was like 175 or 180, something around there. It was ridiculous. They were coming up with every step of the way, which is fantastic. That's exactly what I want. So, the caveats, right? So I'm going to ruin some of the surprises here for the baking a cake exercise. But so the SMART goal before was specific. Earl eating a cake at a table with you, okay? And everybody's happy. Okay, it doesn't have to be a birthday. It doesn't have to be a party. It's just everyone gathering together for a cake. I don't care what the occasion is, just cake. So baking a cake. And so people would go through the first pass, people would go through the second pass, and then partway through the second pass, I would just ask them a question. So the end result, the SMART goal is, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time sensitive. Earl and you and the party eating cake together at this location at this time, blah, 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 blah. Great. And they're almost done the second pass. I'm sitting there with a timer and I'm waiting for the halfway mark in the second pass. I'm like, okay, guys, did anyone ask if Earl has any allergies? No. Well, congratulations, you just killed me, right? And, the class would laugh at that and I go, great. This is why I go through, ask stupid questions. First step, hey, Earl, what kind of cake do you like? I like these kind of cakes. Are you allergic to anything? Yes, if I eat this, it might kill me. Yeah, kind of important, right? Side note. And that's the funny thing that people go, oh, right, damn. On the third pass, people go, yeah, cut the cake. And I said it earlier. How are you going to cut the cake? With a karate chop like this? No? Okay, you're going to need a knife, right? Where's the get knife step? Right? Oh, yeah, think about that. Then I asked them another deeper question. You guys ever bake a cake before? Yeah. What do you have to do between baking the cake and cutting the cake? They're like, Oh, right, you have to let the cake cool down, because if you don't let the cake cool down, you try to take the knife and cut the cake. Even if you got the knife step, great. Try cutting a cake that's fresh out of the oven. What happens? It just goes moosh, right? And it dies. So you're going to have to wait for the cake to cool. Right? Great. Well, the cake is cooling. What about the bottom of the cake? That's why they have these cooling rack things. Everyone's like, what the hell's a cooling rack? Every guy's like confused unless you're a baker. And they're like, what the hell's a cooling rack? And then you show them a picture of cooling rack. Oh, that makes sense. The bottom of the cake has to cool too. Otherwise, you're going to cut all the way to the bottom and then everything's just going to stick and it's going to suck. So getting a cooling rack, finding the cooling rack, buying the cooling rack, right? If you have one, great. If you don't have one, go get one. And that's how you get to 150 steps for something as simple as baking a cake, right? And this is the steps that, again, I just reiterate, this is how they put a person on the moon, right? Just think about the process that they had to think about. Right, isn't there radiation in space? Suit better protect from radiation. Hey, you know what? When you're out there in space, I bet you the sun gets real bright, right? So are we going to make them wear sunglasses? No, we're going to have a big visor thing that protects them from the sun, okay? Hey, what happens if the guy has to take a leak? Right? What happens if he has to do number 2? Uh-oh. A spacesuit has to take care of those things. So this is the kind of structure where you ask stupid questions, right? When you're thinking about a spacewalk on the moon, not only does the guy need air, he has to go to the bathroom, right? And maybe has to drink. Okay, might get hot in that thing, and he might get dehydrated. So you have to think about all these little bits and pieces, and it's the same thing whether it's baking a cake, putting a person on the moon, or building out your business. So yeah, just fill in the blanks, do your best. First pass, second pass, third pass. And it's not going to be perfect. The reason why we do sticky notes, the reason why we do this on sticky notes is because you're going to screw up. 100% guaranteed you're going to screw up. You're going to think step 1, step 2, step 3. No, that's not really step 3. That's actually now step 5. And we need to make a new step 3 and step 4. That's why the sticky notes. You can take a sticky note, pick it up, move it around, and change the order of these things. And this is kind of the basis for the next level of training. So we're gonna, if you do want to learn this stuff, we do teach this in courses. I will make digital online versions of this course and whatnot. But this is kind of just a presentation showing you the quick version, the quick and dirty version of this. And the last piece is just join our community. So if you like what you see here, this is called the 100kMentor group, and we also have the 100k Academy for people who are more serious and want to really delve deep. I invite you to join our community. Come check us out. Right now we're hosted on Facebook, so facebook.com/100kMentor group, and feel free to jump in. And I'm going to post this here, and we're going to share it from there. And we're going to have discussions and questions and all sorts of good stuff from there. Just helping the community grow. And the goal is to actually help one of my other mentors, and his goal was to help 100 million entrepreneurs do their thing. So here I am, throwing my hat in the ring, kind of helping out, doing my part with the 100kMentor program. And this is for just people who want to grow and want to learn and want to just expand. So if you're interested, come join the group. Obviously, joining the group is absolutely free on Facebook, and some of the meetups will be free. And some of the meetups in person will be free. And there's going to be some free stuff. There's going to be some paid stuff. It just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. All right. So you definitely get value out of the free stuff. Hopefully you got value out of today's presentation. And I will see you next time at the next event or the next video. All right. Bye for now.